Bruce Timm is the mastermind behind Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League, some of the best interpretations of Batman ever, and for my money, some of the best animated shows of all time. And here, he gives us some of the worst Batman fan fiction of all time. So let's talk about it. So Batman and Harley Quinn is a new DC animated film that's somewhat drawn in the style of Batman in the Animated Series and Justice League, kind of a new twist on it. Much of the vocal cast is returning from that show. Not much, I mean, Batman and Robin are returning. It's a new Harley Quinn. And here the story involves Floronic Man and Poison Ivy teaming up to create some sort of mutagen thing that'll turn everyone on Earth into plants to save the Earth from mankind. And thus Batman and Nightwing must team up with Harley Quinn to stop them. And it's kind of as stupid as it sounds. I don't even know where to begin with this one. It's not good. It is really a gigantic misfire from beginning to end. Almost every choice they make is not good. So I was pretty excited about this one because it was a throwback to Batman the Animated Series. And truly, it's my favorite animated TV show of all time. I very frequently put on Batman the Animated Series up to this day, just in my free time from time to time. Even if my son's not around, we'll watch Justice League frequently, especially because they're on Netflix as well as Amazon Prime. Between the two, you can get all the shows. And I mean, I just love those shows. So the idea that they were going to be doing something that's not necessarily in that canon, but very much a continuation of the style and nature of it seemed awesome to me. But that's not what this is. It looks like it. Some of the voice cast is here. The tone is totally different. The direction they go with it, the quality control, everything about it. It is not Batman the Animated Series just in the year 2017. It is not Justice League just in the year 2017. It's this own weird other thing that's poorly written, poorly conceived. And it's much more of a comedy, kind of campy, kind of raunchy, like hard PG-13 in the direction they go with it. So anyway, let's talk about the good. The return to somewhat the aesthetic of Batman the Animated Series, that's good. Kevin Conroy, good. The guy that does Nightwing, Robin Dick Grayson, good. Loren, I don't actually know what his name is. So all of those things are good. There's some laughs. There are some laughs in it. My theater definitely, and myself included, certainly laughed at some of the stuff that happened in it. Different people at different times, and I think for different reasons. But it certainly did have things in it that got me to laugh out loud multiple times during the movie. And it was trying to, in which case you got to give credit where credit is due. It did that. That's all I got for you. Let's move on to the bad. And wow. It's hard to explain just how bad this thing is without sitting through it with you. It's not a boring bad. It's certainly a bad that's like enjoyable to watch the train wreck, but it's not good. So it starts off with the opening scene is just right out of the gate. Floronic Man and Poison Ivy are breaking into a place to get stuff, and it just right from the get-go, it looks cheap. It feels cheap. It feels like the cold open to a episode of the Justice League is what it felt like. Very much a cold open, not particularly memorable or interesting. Just starts off like this cold open setting up, we're trying to do something evil. And then it cuts to the opening credit sequence, and the opening credits are like a slapstick, kind of like the Pink Panther opening bit in the Pink Panther movies with the Pink Panther and the guy with the big nose running around doing stuff and his slapstick gags. It's like that, except with Batman and Harley Quinn running around and villains appearing and dynamite blowing up, and you're like, oh, this is kind of amusing, but what am I watching right now? And then it goes into the story and it plays out the whole thing plays like a really long episode of the show, any one of these shows, except without it's not more plot, just so much filler. And the plot involving Floronic Man and Poison Ivy, it's just ludicrous. It's not good. It's just, let's kill everyone on Earth to save the plants. I mean, just mustache twirling villain, ludicrous. It doesn't make sense. It's just, they're trying to do that. And essentially the whole plot is Batman trying to find them. So they have to get Harley Quinn. And that's it. There's no like big twist, turns, reveals in there. They're just, we need to get to her. And along the way, of trying to get Harley Quinn. She's, of course, difficult to work with. And they have to fill up this plot since there's not a whole lot here. So there's a sequence in this where they go to a bar and there's 2 musical numbers in a row. They go in and some guys are on stage singing an Elvis song and you're like, what? Is this really happening? And there's just like people dancing in that cheap animation, just 2 motions on repeat. And it goes through the entire Elvis song. And then Harley Quinn goes up and she sings a full song. And the whole time there's a couple little gags with Batman. But there's 2 whole songs in a row just kind of eating up, 5 minutes, 6 minutes in this movie that's only like an hour and 15 minutes long. That's what this movie is. There's a sequence where Batman, Nightwing, and Harley Quinn are driving down the road and Harley Quinn sees someone, chases the guy down the road. There's this big chase sequence. And then you get to the end of it and you're like, okay, where's this going? And then the big reveal is that the guy was some guy that was mean to her mom. And then the story progresses and you're like, what? That's your like big chase sequence right here? What are you doing? And so the plot, it's so bare bones. It's the plot of a weaker episode of Batman the Animated Series or Justice League, the Justice League Unlimited, the one where it was single episodes, not the longer arcs of the original Justice League series. But not a good one. Like so bare bones with a weird villain, stupid plot line, and it just stretched out so long. And then just going through the execution of all of it, it's so low budget. There's a sequence at the beginning of it where they look at a newspaper and they put the newspaper up on the screen, like blown up so you can actually see what it says. And the text in the paper itself is lorem ipsum. So if you don't know what that is, it's like the random Latin text that they throw into website templates and Word document templates when you kind of get just buy a template of them. It's the filler text that they put on, and it's straight up lorem ipsum up on the string. And you look at it and you go, really? They didn't fix that? They didn't change that? They just put it right up on the screen. And they put it up one time and I thought that didn't look right. And I heard my sister laugh. And then they put it up on the screen and I looked at it and I was like, it is. It's just straight up lorem ipsum. And you're looking at it, Latin text on the screen. And I asked my sister, were you laughing because it was lorem ipsum? She goes, yeah, it was right there on the screen. I was like, yeah, what were they thinking on filling that out? Like, was it supposed to be a joke? I can't believe that I saw this in a theater just up on the screen, nonsense Latin text in the screen. And then just the animation is just dirt cheap. During the music sequence I mentioned before, every time someone would hold out a note, the frame would hold. And so don't hold a note. Every time they would hold a note, it would just pause and you'd be sitting there like, you're doing this. You're holding out a frame for 2-3 seconds long while they hold a note. And the fact that they're holding a note, so it's brings attention to the fact that the screen's not moving. Nothing on the screen is changing right now. There's nothing dynamic at all happening. It's that cheap. And it happened multiple times where they just held on a frame awkwardly while you're just like, oh dear, like this is not working at all. And then you kind of progress through it. It's trying to be funny, but when I say trying to be funny, it's like if you ever wanted to have like Harley Quinn going and doing fart jokes in the back while like Dick Grayson's going, oh, Batman, really? You can hold out on this? That's so impressive. If you've wanted that, here you go. You've got it. That's not really what I wanted when I saw, oh, Bruce Timm's doing another Batman film in the style of Batman the Animated Series. Harley Quinn's in it. Fart jokes. That was not what I had in mind. And then finally, if you're coming off of the Killing Joke from last year, and a lot of people were put off by some of the sexual content and the sexual relationship between Batman and Batgirl that's in that. Here, it's like all of this is Bruce Timm's weird erotic fan fiction. This one right here works in a very similar sequence very early on into it where you're watching it and it's kind of going in one direction and then very quickly it suddenly just turns and it's immediately becomes like dialogue straight out of one of them pornographs where someone's like, well, I see you've got something I want. Well, I shouldn't, but you got something I want, but I really shouldn't. Oh yeah, you're going to give it to me. Like, you're watching like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? And then goes in that direction. And then they keep making all of these like bad sex puns and sex jokes throughout the whole thing, tying back to the sequence. And you're like, is this real? Like, how? I can't believe I'm watching this. And you get to the whole thing plays out. You get to the end of it, and the last three, it's not been good. I laughed. Some jokes worked. You get to the last 3 minutes, and they make the rest of it look incredible. Like, it just makes this gigantic veering turn in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and you're like, is this really happening? And then it just out of nowhere just kind of ends. Someone cracks a joke about, well, that was a big waste of time. When you're thinking, yeah, that was a big waste of time. And then someone goes, I know how we can beat the bad guy. And then there's like this final reveal, and then just the credits roll. And you're watching that like, are you kidding me? And like I saw it with my sister and brother-in-law. We all looked at each other like, did that really just happen? That's how it ended? And the specific place where it ends doesn't make any sense because of something that happened 30 minutes earlier when they were fighting this exact same person in a different setting, that like where this thing ends and they go, we can defeat him like this. And it makes no sense at all. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know how this got made. I don't know how this script went through or what they were trying to do. And like, I can see that they're like, hey, let's make a kind of like a fun comedic Batman movie. Fair enough. Some of the humor works here. But with the story they picked and the direction they went, the turns, and just Batman's stupid in it. Dick Grayson is stupid in it. They're continuing the ongoing, like, Harley Quinn's a sex bot that just wants to bang everybody, and where's Skippy? They're just continuing so far down that path. Wow. I'm fairly speechless at what I just saw. There's a post-credit sequence on it that's like, it's an overly long one-note joke that goes on for like 4 minutes. You're like, is this still going on? And I'm still not laughing. Yeah, wow. I mean, I could keep going talking about how bad this thing is. Anyway, I think I'll give this one a 4 out of 10. It's the bad quality of a 3 out of 10, but there are some laughs in there, so I'll bump it up to 1. And they're intentional laughs. I laughed at some jokes that I was supposed to laugh at. Some of them did work, but overall, wow, such a misfire. And like, you know, just for the potential of Bruce Timm coming back to doing this content, it should have been so much easier. It would be so much easier to do better than this. But it's a bad plot of a single 20-minute episode stretched out for an hour and 20 minutes with unbelievable amounts of filler in it, bad jokes, misdirections, horrible directions. Such a wasted opportunity. And if I'm being honest, I'm mad that they wasted this opportunity. If you're curious, it's not boring. But if I'm being honest, yeah, I can't believe what I just saw. Anyway, how about you? Did you see it? Tell me what you thought about it down below in the comments. Did anyone like this? If you did, just try and tell me how. Try and tell me if you weren't just like disappointed and like mind blown at what you saw. Tell me down below in the comment section, because I don't understand what you saw. If you were like, no, man, that was awesome. That's exactly what I wanted out of this. I mean, maybe if you thought it actually was legitimately funny from beginning to end and you could just write off the plot, but man, that plot, I can't believe what I just saw. Woo! Anyway, if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, normally more positive than this one. I was really disappointed by this thing. I also do ranking videos each and every weekend, but really, I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you, so join me in the comment section, and thank you for watching.